Hey guys, how you doing? So, a couple of different viewers are asking about the Florida area. I gotta admit, I have no familiarity over there, other than I took my daughter years ago to Clearwater, Florida. She wanted to see the dolphin winter that lost its tail, and this was about 5 years ago. My wife was pregnant with our son, and so travel out of the country wasn't a good idea. So that year, for our family or for our family um, vacation, we went to Clearwater, and that's really like the extent of my familiarity with Florida. I know I'm talking about something personal, and you guys are like, "What do we care about your trip?" Um, I'm just saying, in terms of, I'm just really not familiar with the area. Other than I do know a lot of people say Florida's freight is always very cheap and it's difficult to find freight out of there. As I open up the application here, you can see I had already tried searching for a domicile down there, and there's nothing here for for Miami. Um, and it's not that I think there's nothing there. I think what's happening here, guys, is um, okay. So here's some Jacksonville, but I think what's happened. If you guys ever watch Trucking Topics Today, check out Tony's channel over there. He does a live stream on the day that these contracts hit, and all of the Florida stuff disappears like within minutes. I think the market over there is very saturated with trucking companies, owner operators, carriers, whatever you want to call it. The other person that's actually based out of Florida, and you can check out his YouTube channel, um, Trucking Style Sean. He's actually kind of what we would call an old schooler. He's been with Amazon for years, and he's on that better program where he's not working the relay load board. He's got those tenured loads where he's tied in on an annual contract. Check his channel out. And it's not that I'm trying to say, hey, stop coming over to mine. I love the views, love the comments. Glad to have you guys here. But honestly, I think Sean over there can help shed more light on the Florida market. I think you guys are extremely saturated with trucking companies trying to get some Amazon work. Anyway, I'll get back to the point here, because when the videos get long, people tend to not watch. So, the first one is a team load. Pay $7,100 for the block. That's cheaper than in other areas, and so it's 119 hours. That's typical of their blocks now, and it's $7,100. Again, that does not include what they call accessorials. So your tolls, I know Florida has a lot of toll roads. They will pay that as a separate. I can't open that up because it won't show the detail. And you will also get um, fuel surcharge. On some of the other just regular loads, it kind of looks like the fuel surcharge is close to 10%. So hypothetically, there could be another $700 in, don't quote me, it's just my guess. There could be another $700 in fuel surcharge, and then, whatever your tolls are. I'm not familiar with Florida, and when I went down to Clearwater, we really just kind of drove across the harbor there to the little town that's like oceanfront. It's beautiful down there, by the way, guys. You guys in Florida, you live in a beautiful place. The wife and I really enjoyed it. The wife, myself, and my daughter. Anyways, let me try and look for, and there's just two, guys. There's two, and this is Jacksonville. I tried Miami. I tried um, Tampa. Not really sure what other location would be down there as a. We're not talking about cities. We're talking about like the major hubs. They call them domiciles. So let's switch over to the load board. You can see the option for contracts are not great. Like I say, go over to Trucking Topics today. Look through his videos. It'll appear as a live stream, and he'll probably call it like contracts available, something like that. And he'll show you kind of what's there. People check in, kind of like you guys are asking me to look at different markets. People message, on the stream, hey, show me what's here, show me what's there, and Florida for sure, within hours of the contracts hitting, all of those contracts are gone. And so let's look at the load board. Again, let's try not to let the video get too long because viewers tend to tune out. And so because I already did a search earlier, there's nothing in Miami. And I'll even open this up to 250 miles, and there's nothing there. The closest one's in Gainesville, Florida. There's Savannah, Georgia. And there's Jacksonville. So, I hate to say it, guys, but holy cow, your area's dry. I think a lot of your guys' activity is tied into those contracts. But here's something I don't normally do, but we can do a search by destination. And so let's try that. And so you can see, yeah, I think a lot of those loads are just tied into the contracts, is the problem. And so let's try, I hate to say it, but this video is going to be a flop. Let's take a look at Tampa. Nothing. Jacksonville. All right, so Jacksonville has some activity. That's just an 80-mile run there. Now that is from one Amazon location to another, and so there are obviously Amazon locations down there. DFL3. Let's see where that is. So that's to the north, and it's an Amazon location. It looks really weird for an Amazon location. It's very small. I'm gonna say this is probably one of those last mile delivery centers because it's in a very small town. Anyway, man, this video is going to be a flop. I'm not able to help you guys. And so this particular load goes to Jacksonville. The rate's at $3.10 a mile. And there's another one, also at $3.10 a mile. And so there's something moving there. Jacksonville to Lakeland, Florida. Again, I'm not familiar, guys. I don't know what your guys' area is like down there. So, that looks more like an Amazon facility. And so where is this relative to the... All right, so that's like the center part of the state, you could say. Let's see if They're giving that a TPA too, so that's going to be like if you were in Tampa. But just so this video is not a flop, what was the name of that? Lakeland. Oops. No results. Let's see if we can do TPA. Yeah, so I thought we'd searched for Tampa already. Yeah, I think what's happened is in your guys' area, all these contracts got swallowed up, guys. Oops. And so let's go back to the load board. Let's look at Lakeland directly and see what comes up. No, nothing that way either. So there's a Gainesville to Jacksonville. We looked at that earlier. There's another load to go with it. That's the load we just saw. All right, so the one at the top is what they call a tour. It starts in Jacksonville. It's a 587-mile tour that comes back to Jacksonville. They're saying it's a one-day load, and it's about $1,000. And it looks like they have a couple of them. And these were all locked away. And so what those little locks mean, guys, for those of you that are already on Amazon, you'll know that every time you go to do a load, they pretty much rate you. They give you a rating based on your performance and your application use. And by application use, it's not just you book the load with the application. It's, you check in using the application. When you leave, you let them know, hey, I'm leaving. And so that way they can track the progress of the load and make sure you're going to be on time and that you deliver to the right place. And so they rate your performance on that, on top of the fact that, they expect you not to cancel loads once you book them, because that kind of, disrupts the flow of merchandise, right? And so once you attain a score, they score you for like 6 weeks. Once you attain a score of 95 or better, these ones with the little locks on them are locked, they're available to you. So right now I don't have access, but if you look here at the top, I just moved it up to the top. So early access, if I move this over, it's only going to show me the ones that are unlocked, because I haven't done any loads with them lately. I'm not scored. And so the only way we can look at these is because they were unlocked, and it's probably because no one's taken them. So these loads are available, and as you can see, these things load tomorrow. So the system unlocks them because they're starting to think no one's going to take them. But these are all the way up in Jacksonville. So for our friends that are way down in South Florida, that's going to be tough. You're obviously not going to drive all the way to North Florida up to Jacksonville to try and get these, $900 loads. It's just not worth it for you. So my best recommendation, check out Trucking Topics Today, Tony over there. I want to say these loads drop like on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. But if you go look at his videos, you'll see when they drop, and you can watch the old ones where he's already aired them in the past, and you'll see, people call and ask, or they message and ask. And I remember watching one of them once, and there was definitely some stuff in Florida, but I think the majority of your guys' loads are locked up in short-term contracts, the long-term tenured contracts, and then there's probably more of these that are locked in the loads for your carriers that have a better score. And so, as an outsider's perspective, to me it seems like if you guys take the expense to get on with Amazon, you're going to struggle to get work for this very same reason. I think if you guys are looking to start up a new operation, you might be better off moving north somewhere and run some loads out of a different area. And I know that sounds like a lot to sacrifice and do, but you may need to run some longer distance hauls for them out of the Florida area for the sake of getting your score. And then once you have the score, you can look at some of these loads. They'll be unlocked, and then you can try and get on some of those contracts. But I got to tell you, if you've watched the other videos, the contracts are pretty cheap. There was someone that asked for Jacksonville. And he wanted somewhere north of that as well, I believe into the Georgia area. So what I'll do is I'll open this up to 200 miles, and that should cover that. So there you see the Tampa stuff, which, you know, we've already talked about. And even so, that's all there is. And so I don't think it's so much, guys, that your area is that dead. I think this area is, you know, the competition is fierce because there's a lot of trucks out there struggling to get loads out of Florida. I know anytime I see loads heading that way, the rate is usually very well paid because it's difficult to find loads coming out. And so your local carriers aggressively book these things. I'm going to bet you that there's no loads because people booked up, you know, from last Thursday to make sure they have loads for Monday. Unfortunately, when you do that, that makes the pricing for your load really low. And so I know some areas in Florida could be very expensive to live. The dispatch company that I'm using is based out of Florida. Their name is SmartHop, and my dispatcher lives down there. And, you know, he's telling me, just from what he's telling me, homes over there are as expensive, if not more expensive, as compared to Southern California. It's kind of funny because I always grew up thinking, you know, the Florida area was cheaper, and that's why people went and retired there. It wasn't until I got a little older that I realized people retire there because of the weather you guys have. But anyway, man, I'm sorry I couldn't be more help on this particular round, but it's better to know than not know, right? If you guys are trying to get your authority set up and you're going to have to buy the additional insurance that Amazon requires, because you have to have the workman's comp as a requirement, and you have to have the general liability with $1 million per occurrence plus a $2 million aggregate. And so, you know, it's good to know ahead of time that this is what you're going to be fighting with. You're going to struggle with the competition. It's fierce in your guys' area, I believe. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Wish I could have given you better news or had a better report for you.